month today, too.
Call to order the Thursday, November 21st meeting of the Ames Parks and Recreation Commission. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 19th, 2019 meeting. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is on the table for approving the minutes from September 19th, 2019. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a public forum for items not on the agenda. So if you have any items not related to park naming or Ames Triathlon, dog park, anything of that nature, you can approach the podium at this time. All right, seeing none, we will close the public forum. Next item on the agenda is the director's report with the introduction of Ben Flaherty.
Yeah. So just, we didn't meet in October, but one of the things that has happened with our full-time staff is we had 3 of our recreation full-time staff leave the department. One of our recreation managers had an opportunity in Waukee, so he's now working for Waukee Parks and Recreation. One of our recreation managers is now working for Iowa State University, and then our ice arena manager took a job with Stanford University. So we lost 3 people. So we were down, and top of that with one of our maintenance specialists we mentioned to you in September had retired. So we've been trying hard to get new staff. Ben is one of them. We also have another individual, Nate Peets, will be starting next week, Monday, as recreation manager. We'll bring him to the December meeting. And then with the ice arena manager, we did do a recruitment. We failed the recruitment, and we will be going out for another recruitment after the first of the year. And then our maintenance specialist should be starting sometime after Thanksgiving. So Ben is here tonight, and he'll just come up. And so he's our newest addition, recreation manager. So we'll just let Ben give you a little bit overview of who he is.
Thanks for having me. My name is Ben Flaherty. I started last Tuesday, so I'm still learning the ropes, trying to meet people, learn names, build connections, and then learn the programs and see what I need to be doing every day. So a little bit about myself. I'm 24. I am from Van Meter, Iowa, and I graduated and went to University of Iowa, majored in sport and recreation management. Had different internships along the years with the Iowa Cubs, some different other local high schools, and then also Ames High. I worked with Judge Johnston, the athletic director there, which kind of got me a little, used to the area more than I would have been. Graduated college, was working on a gym for a couple months, then got the director job for the recreation for the city of Solon, which is much smaller scale, but I was in charge of their youth and adult programs as well as their community center and the classes within that. So then when this job came up, I was really excited about it. With being with the youth and adult programs is more of my, that's what I'm more excited about rather than the community center side of things. So got this. And so, I'm focusing on youth and adult sports and activities, which is something I'm really excited about. And so far I've been taking basketball mostly off Keith and Kelly's hands, and while they're swamped with a bunch of other stuff. So I've been taking that on and then getting ready to take on the upcoming sessions while they finish the ones out right now. So excited to meet all you guys and work with everyone and see what has to offer.
Any questions for Ben?
Not here. It's nice to have you aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Good job.
So the next item is over the past year or so with Sunset Ridge Park, trying to develop a park, working with the Property Owners Association. And as you know, generally with our neighborhood parks, the city council allocates $80,000 for park development. As we're going through the development, generally what has been happening is there's what's wanted or needed within a park is usually a little more than what the city council allocates. So we've been fortunate with the Friends of Roosevelt Park, raising money, and now with Sunset Ridge, working with them. What they want to do is do a check presentation to the commission. I think for $17,365. And in addition to that, they also have received a neighborhood improvement grant in the neighborhood of $5,000 as well. So altogether, they have raised about $22,000 that will be going towards the park development. So we have Jody Gatewood and Dave Eggert, who are Sunset Ridge board members. So they can say a little something if they'd like, and then commissioners, we can get you up and we'll get a picture with the check presentation.
Yeah, so we just want to thank you from the Sunset Ridge Property Owners Association. We appreciate you, your support, and especially Josh and Keith and the Parks and Rec Department for helping us make this vision a reality. Our neighborhood is very excited to have a park located so our kids can play safely and not have to cross Lincoln Way to get to a park. So we're really excited about next spring when we should have a park in our neighborhood. So thank you.
Yeah, and just we have had some grading has been done in the park. The play equipment has been delivered. We have a shelter ordered. So a lot of things happening. So hopefully in the spring, weather permitting. So commissioners, we just want to get you up and we can have them. Yep.
They check. Sometimes they do that. See you tomorrow. Good job. My time's coming. You're gonna miss it.
And I will just add that it has been, it's been Jody, Dave. They actually have a playground or a park committee that we've met with several times. Some other passionate people within their property owner association. Craig Mack, who couldn't be here tonight, who's their POA president. And it has been really a pleasure to work with everybody from there. We've gone out to some potlucks. We've gone to meetings in garages. Just sharing things, getting their feedback and so on. So good cooperative effort. And we have really enjoyed working with the Property Owners Association. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
So the next item is the Edwards Park and what we're calling Edwards Park for right now. It's the park site at the old Edwards or former Edwards school location, elementary school. And have a lot of information, in the commission action form in regards to this. So with it is we do have a process. If somebody wants to have a park named or a park change, a name change or major amenity, something like that. If they want something named, there is a process. An application must be completed. That application is submitted to Parks and Recreation Director. Parks and Recreation Director reviews all that information, makes a recommendation to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Parks and Recreation Commission will make a recommendation to the City Council, and then City Council makes a final decision, with that. So as laid out, there are three different areas three different categories that a park could be named. One is historic events, people, and places. And I always use the example of in most communities, there's a Washington Park, there's a Washington School, there's a something named after, or there may be a historic event within the community that has happened. So historical events is one. Outstanding individuals. And this could be, somebody has made contribution to the Parks and Recreation system, the city of Ames, the state of Iowa, or even, at a national level. That's one category. And then the last one is for major donations. So with these, Those are the three categories, and with the request that's in front of you is to rename or to name this park. And we've been informally, calling it Edwards Park just because it was the old Edwards School, but nothing has been official. So the request is to name it Tahira and Lob Hira Park. And Tahira and Lob, they were longtime residents of the neighborhood. They now live out of state. They're longtime employees at the university or Iowa State University. They have been very generous with their time and financially as well, making contributions to a variety of organizations within the community. In fact, one of the donations they did make was towards Munn Woods when that was being purchased, then to be given to the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, which then came back to the city of Ames. So they did have done a number of things. I'm not going to go through all the boards and activities and volunteer things and that they have done. But you can see, Tahira, even at the state and the national level, has been pointed to, a number of different committees, commissions, boards, either by governors of Iowa or at one point even the President Bush to be put on a commission for financial literacy. So with it, we look at everything. Do they have a connection to the park location? Which they do. They lived in that neighborhood for almost 25 years, and I had with it, there are three alternatives. One is to recommend City Council approve the request to name the park located on the site of the former Edwards Elementary School, the Tahira and Lob Hira Park. Or recommend City Council not approve the request, or you could refer it back to staff. So one of the things too, and under the staff recommendation, you see regarding an outstanding individual, it's really what contribution have they made, what is their moral character, and do they have so those are the two main things there. So with it, I already kind of shared what they have done. They also, like I said, have done a number of different things within the community. But as far as moral character, I have talked to a number of different people who know the Hiras, and I have had heard nothing but positive comments. Very caring people, very genuine. They really care about people. They did not have any children, but they really care for that neighborhood, and they want to make sure that park is something that's very positive, for the neighborhood. So really looking at two things: that piece of it, the outstanding individual, and then the financial contribution, which they are interested in donating $40,000 to the park development. So, and I've showed, in the commission action form that city did allocate $80,000. The Opus Foundation has committed, $5,000 for $85,000. So right now, if they're $40,000, it'd be $125,000 for park development. And we had a meeting on Tuesday night and kind of showed a master plan to the neighbors, who was there, about 24 people. And right now, with some of the things that they would like to see in the park, it's almost $173,000 is what the cost estimate is. So we'll be scaling that back, and we'll be working with Kathy Schnabel and Annie Barber, who are two of the representatives from the neighborhood that we've been working with. So their contribution is 32%, or would be 32% of that 125,000. Now, in the policy, which is attached to the commission action form, with the policy, there is no dollar amount and there is no percentage that's associated with the policy. That's something that when the commission did make a recommendation several years ago for this policy to go to the city council, That was a part of it, but city council really wanted to look at these on a case-by-case basis. So I did give you some historical, perspective. There has been, some parks that have been named, without any monetary donations. So Ada Hayden Heritage Park, Lloyd Kurtz Park, Carol Marty Disc Golf Course. So, and I gave you some of that information. Ada Hayden, obviously from the state standpoint, Iowa State first doctorate student, or female doctorate student. And then Lloyd Kurtz served on the Parks and Recreation Commission, and Carol Marty had donated a number of hours to the park system. Regarding major donations, Helen Daly received naming rights for Daly Park for $100,000 donation, which is about 38% of the total project. And then Don and Ruth Furman, donated $2 million or 21% of the total project cost, for naming rights for the Furman Aquatic Center. So with this, I will say at the meeting on Tuesday night, and what we did is we actually have had 2 meetings thus far with the neighbors of this park. We did one in April. We knew that the land was going to be deeded over to us from the Ames School District. And what we did, we just wanted to start getting what their vision was, what types of activities and so on. And at that time, I did share that there was a potential, naming opportunity and that somebody was interested in making a donation, to that. We didn't make that public at that time. This past Tuesday, we had another meeting and we had 24 people there. We had about 25 people at the first meeting. So I did share that Tahira and Lob were wanting to make this donation, but that we had also received the naming application, for it. And I laid out the process and said it would be discussed tonight and then discussed again on your recommendation. It would be on December 10th. At City Council. So with that, there were, I would say, 2 individuals were outspoken against naming the park, and it wasn't regarding Tahira and Lob. It was more so with the process. Especially one of the individuals, felt strongly that policy, didn't like policy. And Joshua and I spoke with the individual for probably about 30 minutes after the meeting as well. So with that, so those 2 people spoke against it. And then Kathy Schnabel, and she can speak to this, she received an email today from one of those 2 individuals saying that, would like to see naming delayed until the neighborhood can have more input. So on the flip side, at the meeting the other night, there were, I think, 5 individuals that spoke in favor of the naming. And it's interesting being up front. It's always when you're looking out to the crowd, you can really see kind of the reaction, from people. And there were more, from my perspective, there was more positive reaction when people were speaking in favor of the naming request rather than when people were speaking against it. Again, that's just my observation, from that. And I know we have several people here that speak. I did send you, 2 separate emails from Brenda Smith in regards to speaking in positive and in favor of that. I don't believe Sue Ravenscroft is here tonight. She did come up after the meeting and spoke in favor, and at the meeting spoke in favor of it as well. So really what we are wanting to do tonight and what looking for, from the commission is to make a recommendation to City Council. And one of the things, because City Council has the final say in this, they'll make the final decision in talking with the city manager's office, that if commission makes a recommendation, if council chooses to delay, the determination or a decision, that we should let council decide to delay it and not at this level. That was the recommendation or feedback that I had received from the city manager's office. So with that, our recommendation or staff's recommendation on this is alternative one, which is to recommend city council approve the request to name the park located on the site of the former Edwards Elementary School, the Tahira and Lob Hira Park. So, and the two individuals that spoke out against felt that it should maybe just be named Edwards Park. The elementary school was named after David Edwards, who served on the Ames School Board for 18 years. But we all know too is that with the new school that replaced the old Edwards School, they did name that Edwards School also. So I would entertain questions before we have people speak.
The people that wanted to delay it, what was the reason in just delaying?
Just to get more feedback from the neighborhood. So here's one of the things, with it is in both of these meetings, the one that we had in April and the one that we had in just on Tuesday, we sent out 1,600 postcards to basically an area from Highland to North Dakota, Lincoln Way on the south side to then Munn Woods and McCarthy Lee Park on the north side. So 1,600 residents and with that, they have, we only had 24 people show up. So I'm not sure what else we can do to get, people's insight, into it. So, but that was the reason. And I said, well, that's why we brought it up, back in April. Again, not the specifics, but we gave the specifics on Tuesday night. And like I said, I shared what the feedback was.
Any other questions for Keith? No? Okay. Couple more cards. Thanks, Kelly.
Can you explain a little bit more? You'd said that if the delaying of the name, that we don't have the ability to delay, it's only city council. I kind of got a little confused when you looped through that.
Yeah. So in talking with the city manager's office, their recommendation was to have the Parks and Recreation Commission make some recommendation to city council at this meeting. And then if city council chooses to either not accept the application or deny the request or delay and look for more information, that was because they have the final decision. That's what city manager's recommendation was, to let council make the decision in regards to delay if they so chose.
So on your handout to us, one of them was refer back to staff. Isn't that in fact just delaying the decision, or is that what would staff do if we referred it back to staff?
We look to see what other kind of information that you would want, with it. So it's very similar, but yeah. So it's very similar. So you could refer back to staff and direct staff to do something else. But again, and I guess there's some little time sensitive as well, because they are wanting to make this decision or make the donation yet in 2019. So if it is delayed here at this level, then what happens is the next time you guys meet or after the two city council meetings in December. So you could, with this, if there was some additional information, you could make a recommendation to city council and also make a motion to direct staff to maybe gather some additional information to take to city council would be another option.
I guess if we direct staff, it should be with a specific information in mind, not just say delay for the sake of delaying, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We have 4 cards from audience members. The first one I have is from Joel Barber. If you can just state your name and address.
Yep. Joel Barber, 318 Hickory Drive. I've been the president of the Edwards Neighborhood Association for the last 5 years, helping lead the efforts to turn the old school site into a city park. My comments today are my opinion and don't represent everyone in the neighborhood, but I knew Lob and Tahira, lived across the street from them for a short while. Lob and Tahira were long-time outstanding members of the Ames community. Even though the Ames is no longer their full-time home, they care deeply about the community and continue to be involved with several organizations here. Lob was supportive of our efforts to turn the Old Edwards School into a city park from the very beginning. He and Hira care deeply about the neighborhood and community that they called home for so many years. Their many years of service and philanthropy within the community qualified for them for this honor. I would be appreciative of their financial contribution to improve the park and very proud to have the park named in their honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Joel. Next card I have is from Kathy Schnabel. Schnabel. Sorry.
So I've been urged to speak loudly so everybody can hear. So if I blast your ears out, I apologize. Anyway, I'm going to try to speak loudly, which is not my normal nature. Let's see. So I was vice president of the Edwards Neighborhood Association with Joel. I think it was actually 6 years ago that we first started talking with the school board about this project. So we've been working on it for quite a long time. The process of what was going to happen with the school, and then trying to get the park, and then doing the fundraising, and then it took a while for the transfer to happen between the school board and the city. I wanted to speak in favor of naming the park, the Lob and Tahira Park. I certainly have known them. They were there when we moved into the neighborhood in 1988. Always been lovely, kind, and caring people. And I'm also very grateful for their generosity towards helping to develop the park towards the vision that we see. So I would just urge you to move forward now. If there, needs to be more information gathered or whatever, there is still 3 weeks left before the city council meeting. I guess that's all I have to say, unless you have any questions for me. No? Okay,
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks.
Kathy. Next card I have is from Brad Schrader.
Thank you all very much. My name is Brad Schrader. I live at 3607 Woodland in Ames. We are right around the corner from the old Edwards plot. All 3 of my children went to Edwards School. My granddaughter has gone to the new Edwards School, is now in the middle school. I've lived in Ames since 1984. I've known Lob and Tahira all that time. We bought our home at 3607 Woodland from Lob and Tahira. They moved up the street to Hickory. Lob and I worked together in the College of Business. He and I were chairs back in the late 1990s together. He became an associate dean and then a dean of our college. When he was the dean of the College of Business at Iowa State, he oversaw the construction of the Jardine Business Building. And that building has been a major contribution, I think, to the Iowa State campus. It is being added to right now as we speak, and has helped establish the College of Business on the campus at Iowa State University. Lob is a very generous person. He's been generous to the college, to our building. I've seen his generosity firsthand to many of our students. From another world, from another perspective, I know that the business community would look very favorably upon this sort of action. For example, the former CEO of Hy-Vee, Rick Juergens, knows Lob personally and would be happy with this. Dave Kingland, the founder of Kingland Systems, Lob's been on Dave has been on LOB's advisory board in the College of Business, the current CEO of Principal Financial Group, Dan Houston, on and on. LOB knows the business community very well, and I know they would all be very supportive of this thing. Like I said, I've known LOB and Tahira since we moved here. And when LOB called me a couple weeks ago, I think this is important because his motivation for this seemed so genuine to me. He viewed it as an honor, not as a means to get his name out there, but more to honor this neighborhood. So I know this means a lot to him, means a lot to me. Hope you consider it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. The last card I have is from Carol Horowitz.
I'm going to speak very loud. I
That's
didn't hear a
fine.
word you guys have said. I'm just older. I'm going to speak in support of LOB and Tahira because they have made this university better and they've made our community better. They have been in Ames. They have in Ames for 34 years, and they have worked for the university and to make Ames a better place. And it's very important that their name, they feel that park having their name is very important to them because this is their community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other audience members who wish to speak on this topic? Okay. Oh, no, if there were any other audience members.
Yeah. What I will add is I did this afternoon. I didn't mention this, but I did receive from when Brad talked about the business community, Roger and Connie Underwood. They left me a message and again very positive and in favor of the this naming request. So they encouraged the commission to go ahead and recommend that this request be honored.
Great. Any discussion among the commission?
I would make two comments. One, I have actually worked with LOB and Tahira myself, and I would echo all of the comments we've heard. There are 100 other reasons why I would recommend them as well. But to speak about naming it Edwards Park, I would ask those that are in favor of that to consider the confusion that might set in with that now, because people are aware that Edwards School is actually quite a bit further away from that. And for new people coming into the community to say, oh, we're going to be at Edwards Park, they may go directly to Edwards School. I know that we have kind of two McFarland parks around. That's sometimes a confusing thing. Even North and South River Valley Park is sometimes confusing. So just for that too, I would voice support for Tahira and LOB Hira Park.
Yeah, we have Moore Park and we have Moore
Yes,
Memorial Park,
exactly.
and that causes confusion
Yeah.
to people as well.
Great. That's great feedback. Yeah.
If there's no other discussion, I'd be honored to make that move, to make a motion to for alternative number 1, to recommend City Council approve the request to name the park located on the site of the former Edwards Elementary School, the Tahira and LOB Hira Park.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion is on the table. Is there any further discussion to approve alternative 1 to recommend to City Council to proceed with the naming of the park on the former Edwards School site, the Tahira and LOB Hira Park? Okay. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hi.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Okay. Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for everyone from the neighborhood for your feedback on that. Thanks.
So the next item is the Ames Triathlon Review, which will have Joshua go through that information.
Outlined in the commission action form is waiver of enforcement of the no swimming rule and the prohibition of motorized vehicles on trails at Ada Hayden Heritage Park for the Ames Triathlon on June 28, 2020. In the council action or commission action form, I gave a little bit of feedback in regards to the event that took place in June of this year. The triathlon was a 500-meter swim in the North Lake, approximately 12-mile bike ride around northern sections of Ames and northwestern part of Story County, finished back at the park. It started there and finished there. And then there was a 3-mile or a 5K run that used the pass in the park. One of the concerns that commission had and staff had was use of the North Lake for swimming. Since the park opened in 2004, we have not allowed swimming at all. This is the first time that we've even considered allowing swimming. We met with Iowa Multisport in regards to their request multiple times, went over a safety plan, a timeline of what they're proposing, and came back to commission and commission allowed it, or recommended to, or yes, allowed it to take place. Staff was on site for the event, observed every aspect that took place in the park, was there from startup or from setup to cleanup, and staff observed no issues. The safety protocol that was in place, the safety procedures that are in place, the individuals that they brought in to ensure that the swimming portion of the event was safe was, in my opinion, tremendous. They also had plenty of volunteers that were in safety vessels or kayaks in the lake. That was very beneficial to that as well. Also, in regards to damage, staff did not see or observe any type of turf damage, any damage to structures or the hard surfaces through that. Also, after the event, Iowa Multisport sent a survey to all the participants. 114 surveys or individuals responded. Over 96% of the individuals said that the event was put on was somewhat or very satisfied with the event. There's a table in the council or commission action form that talks about individuals that participated in the event, where they came from, Story County, City of Ames, and then bordering counties or other. And as you can see, there's quite a disparity in the amount of individuals that participated in past year's events compared to this event in Ames, which obviously was very, very popular. So I am requesting, obviously, to have the event again next year. June 28th is the last Sunday in June. They're also asking to use the North Lake again for swimming, so they're asking for the waiver of the enforcement of the no swimming rule, and also they're asking to do setup again early before the park opens, before normal park hours. But new this year is the request to use a golf cart, or at least two golf carts for their event. Last year, specifically, they were pedaling water in a little trailer or putting it on their bike to travel around the park. And one of the concerns that we had after reviewing the event was, if an individual that's running in the event gets overheated, or if there's a safety issue, there's not necessarily a quick way to get that individual back to any type of emergency personnel, and to allow a golf cart would be very beneficial to that, and also set up for water stations as well. So that's another request that they're making. So going through the alternatives, alternative one is waive the enforcement of the no swimming rule at Ada Hayden Heritage Park, North Lake, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. One of the things that we saw in the schedule is that they were right on schedule, which I thought was quite amazing with how many swimmers they had. Is quite amazing. So that 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. is a great timeline. Alternate or 1B is approve Iowa Multisport to enter Ada Hayden Heritage Park at 4 a.m. on Sunday, June 28th, 2020, to begin event setup, and then also recommend to City Council waive enforcement of Ordinance 19.9 from 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday, June 28th, to allow Iowa Multisport to utilize two golf carts. Alternative 2 is basically the same as A and B, but it's not denying the request to recommend the golf cart use at the park. Number 3 is deny the request for Iowa Multisport to allow swimming at Ada Hayden, which would not allow the event to basically take place at the park. Or alternative number 4, refer back to staff. Based on what I said earlier, the event went off without a hitch, in my opinion. They did an excellent job. Alex with Iowa Multisport and their volunteers was very, very responsive. I was quite impressed. I thought it was a neat event. I have a 2-minute video that they sent to me that we can show here in a second. But are there any questions before I proceed?
Was there any feedback from friends about Ada Hayden?
They thought the event went very well. They were pleased with the event. They still can't say that they enjoy or like to have the swimming in the park, though. So
Understandable.
all right. Sorry if I show the video real quick. And then Alex is here and he would like to say a few words.
Welcome again to the inaugural edition of the Ames Triathlon. We're glad that everybody is here today. What a great race day.
The number of volunteers was wonderful, especially at the swim. There's a lot of people that swim that are somewhat intimidated by open water, but it was really nice to see all the lifeguards and volunteers and rescue crews just to make sure everything was okay. And
I thought the course was awesome. So the swim, super smooth, really straightforward. The buoys are huge, you can't miss them. Water's really comfortable. It's great swim for beginners to advanced swimmers. If you're new to swimming, you don't have to be nervous.
The swim was great. That was a lovely course. That was a lot of fun.
I'm pretty happy considering it's my first ever bike race and duathlon. So it was really fun, really well put together, great volunteers. A lot of people came out and sat in the front yard, was cheering people on, which was really fun.
The bike course was challenging. First third of it, very hilly on a hand cycle, but fun.
It's nice to run loops around the lake and you get to see a lot of people and the fans are great cheering you on and it's just fun.
And then the run course through the park here was awesome. If we can have races like this that are right here minutes from the door, it's so much easier to get people into it and even just to encourage them to come watch and then get excited to do one themselves.
How many triathlons have you done?
This is 128.
Oh, wow.
How about that? So he's got some experience.
So he knows what he's talking about. So 1 through 128, how's this course rank?
I would say probably top 20.
Oh, wow, nice. Yeah. All right.
Really fun. It was really good. They put it together and organized it really well.
And would you do it again next year?
I would.
And what would
All right.
Great.
Alex?
Hey guys, Tim and Keisha are here too. Just wanted to say thanks.
Just state your name and address
sorry.
for the record. Thank you.
My name's Alex Stillman. I just moved this weekend, 1502 20th Ave Southeast, Altoona. Just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity to swim in the park and bring triathlon to the city of Ames. Tremendous feedback, way more involvement and participation from the community than we expected, given the time constraints. So we were very pleased with it. We got a lot of positive feedback and, mostly we just want to thank the commission for the opportunity to swim, and Josh and Keith, thanks to the staff, specifically Josh and Keith that helped us and met with us several times to make sure everything was in order. And, we had a successful race that was successful not just for the athletes, but for the community in the park and the people invested in the park. as part of the process, we took donations, for the park and we want to donate that back to a project Tim will talk about. But we were able to raise through a couple matches $1,000 to donate back to the Ada Hayden Park, which we're pretty excited about as well. Josh spoke briefly about the survey. We had a lot of survey responses. About a third of the people responded, which is a pretty good response rate. A lot of the things that were suggestions for improvement were related to the heat. It was the hottest day of the year to that point. We weren't expecting heat. If anything, the opposite of that. So, as Josh was talking about, we added. We were supposed to have one aid station. Because of the heat, we switched to 4. So more opportunities for water. One of the things that some participants asked for is ice water. So a golf cart would really assist in trucking, a few hundred pounds of ice out onto the course. And like Josh was saying, if we need to pull somebody back off the course or get them back if they're overheating or something. Hopefully this year it's not going to be that hot. Survey questions, golf cart. Oh, and then the physically challenged aspect of the race went really well. Bob, who you saw in the video, was really excited about it. And he gave us a lot of good feedback. He's raced nationally in the PC division. And he thinks it would be a good opportunity to have a regional PC event on the course with maybe changing a few of the distances in those hills he mentioned. If we could flatten those out. He thought that would be a good idea too. So, and then obviously we would like to host the event again and ask that the commission choose option number 1. And that's all I had to say. I'm going to let Tim and Keisha talk a little bit. And then if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey guys, Tim Fensel, 1425 Maxwell Avenue. First off, and I wish the groups that left were still here, going after an initiative, whether it's a park or a race, it's hard work. Like not just working with you folks, but participants, volunteers, the logistics part of it. It's a lot of work. So I have new respect for anybody that goes after an initiative for the first time. I think what we did was we really established this for another year. Specifically to the ADA compliance PC athletes with the monies that were raised. And I think I spoke on this briefly with a follow-up. We had a line item in registration. Basically, your race fee was X, and then your one-day pass was X amount, and then participants could put in any dollar amount. And I thought, number one, that was really convenient. And then there were actually, when we were doing cleanup, there were some visitors that passed through. I never followed up with them, but they said, what's the web address? We'd love to put some money in. So not only was that a visitor to the park, but they saw what we did and they had an interest. Again, I didn't follow up to see if their name came through with a donation, but with our focus on having it for ADA compliance and PC athletes, the Access Ada Hayden initiative is where that money is going to be directed. And the feedback on that was extremely positive. I know there's a Facebook page and there's definitely talk, and it's in the CIP moving forward. And so obviously in support of it, we already have some ideas on how we can make it better with the hard surface parking, emergency vehicles, the support across the street. We had some awesome drone footage of ways we can improve that, not only in town. Alex mentioned flattening the hills. They're not in Ames, all of them. So you're not responsible for those. But it is hard. And so given the constraints of someone in a hand cycle, we want them to participate more. And so I think we've got some really good groundwork that we can do better. The boat ramp was one of the things. I have no problem saying that we can improve that, swim exit, swim entry, regardless of the style, whether it's beach, sand, rocks, the paved ramp. In this case, it's always a challenge. And so the feedback was pretty constructive. And it'll be another good event and better than it was this year. So if you have questions for me, I can answer, or Keisha can speak. Josh?
Is ready to do the check?
Yeah, if there's no questions, we can do a photo with the check.
Unless you have something to say, Keisha.
I'm Keisha Place Fensel, and I'm at 1425 Maxwell also. I just wanted to say that with the 4-month window that we had, our goal was to have hopefully 100 registered participants. And so having 301 completely exceeded our expectations. And as a result, we had quite a bit of parking across the street, as Tim mentioned. And so trying to do that aspect a little bit better so that we can hopefully let it grow even more in the future. And then just keep bringing people to Ames and trying to involve the community as much as we can. We reached out to quite a few local businesses and asked them if they would like to contribute some type of door prize to get maybe those out-of-towners into their establishments and try and encourage them to spend a little bit more money here in Ames as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Great.
I do have one question about the water stations. Are you all using bottles or something that's a little bit more environmentally friendly?
We use a paper cup, usually 9 ounce filled halfway, just so people don't choke when they drink it. But not like a bottled water at the water station.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Great.
All kinds of money.
We gotta get people to bring us money in there.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Money's flowing
People will
today.
show up to the-
It's a smaller check, because it's a smaller amount. It's proportional.
We'll take it.
Yes, we will. Every amount counts.
Well, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
You want to squeeze it to the middle? Or?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you might have to call it I probably. Who's the recipient? Are you the recipient?
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2. Great. Got it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other audience members that would like to speak on the triathlon agenda item, or Josh has one more thing to say?
No.
Okay. Any other audience members? Okay. Seeing none. Any comments or?
It seemed like it was very well put together, very successful. I mean, the numbers indicate that a lot of people came. The amenities here in this city are great for hosting something like this. This is definitely something that we need to do more of, is, get people into our community for events like this. It goes hand in hand with, healthy living, and I couldn't be pleased enough. So.
Yeah, I was out of town for that weekend, but I really only saw a lot of great pictures from the event that just really showcase our park system, and then heard nothing but positive feedback from the event. So,
yes.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Based on the success of this year, I'd like to motion alternative 1, waive the enforcement of the no swimming rule, North Lake from 7 to 10 on June 28th, 2020. Approve the Iowa Multisport January to Hayden at 4 a.m. that same day for setup. And I do think the golf carts are probably a good idea for safety and to get those water stations out there. That would be a lot of work to get those out there by hand and, however. So, and we've allowed golf carts in Ada Hayden for a few other events. So I think that's perfectly acceptable. So.
Second.
Second. Okay. Motion is on the table. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion carries. So thank you. Thank you for coming to speak on that.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you. So the next one is Old Town Park renovation plan, and then we'll put this up on the screen for you. So Old Town Park is on 9th Street, just off of Duff Avenue, and it's a small park, but it's a park that the Old Town Neighborhood Association has been very active with over the years. A lot of what has been done in the park has happened because of the Neighborhood Association. The plantings they do, they keep track of it, they do all the work and so on. So can you go out a little bit, Joshua? And a little bit more, just so we can see the whole thing. Thank you. So with it is there is an alley on the left hand side of the park. It's not a large area. That white area is playground space, but some of those benches right now, the ones on the top of the screen to the white, are a little bit closer. So they're gonna actually, where all of that white is, they're gonna make that all engineered wood fiber. Open that space up a little bit, move the benches back a little bit. They're going to be doing some other things on the right side of the park, which would be the west side of the park where that green space is. Right now there is concrete. There's some picnic tables, right there. There's some other things. So what they want to do is they want to take all of that out and then create, a little arbor area with a picnic table. And then you see, and then do that stonework path back to that picnic table, and then there will be a drinking fountain, there as well. And there is a drinking fountain in the park right now. So what they're wanting to do is they want to do this. Staff has met with Christopher Stowe, who's here, and a couple of others over the last year or so, and what they want to do is they want to get approval, just from the commission to say, hey, it looks good, and staff is good with the plan that they're doing. And from a staffing standpoint, we said that we would go in and remove the concrete that is there right now because we have the equipment and so on. The rest of this, they would all fundraise. And do that. And Christopher, is here. He can come up and speak and let you know in regards to how much they're planning on fundraise to make this happen and so on. And he can introduce everybody else that's with him as well.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Chris Stowe. I live at 314 12th Street here in Ames. This is Chris and Liz. They're also members of the neighborhood commission with me as well. Keith invited us, and we're very grateful for the help that he's given us and the advice he's given us over the last couple of months as we've been putting these plans together. We've been working directly with Country Landscape on these plans. They will assist us in the work. They will be doing a lot of the work, but we'll also be getting volunteers from the neighborhood to help out with this work. The park itself is a very nice focal point in our neighborhood, and we'd like to keep it that way. With this project, it's really more of a facelift than anything. We want to continue to have residents use the park and continue having it as kind of a nice little beacon of the neighborhood for people to gather. Lots of employees from McFarland and Mary Greeley also, kind of walk down on their breaks and spend time there. And so we want to continue to keep that nice for them. As Keith mentioned, we've been kind of working with him to make sure we're meeting ADA compliance in a lot of places, and we make the park as accessible as possible to all of the residents, both in our neighborhood and in Ames. So we would just like to present this to the committee, answer any questions that we can. As Keith mentioned, we'll be doing all fundraising in kind through the neighborhood and some of the businesses in the neighborhood, as well as city grants where applicable. So love to answer any questions we can, and we're really thankful for both Keith and staff support and the city support as well.
So Chris, what these improvements, I forget what you told me, what's the estimated cost?
Estimated cost is going to be between $30,000 and $40,000, and we see no problem fundraising that within the neighborhood.
Literally my only concern, because this looks pretty great, is, you mentioned people walking down on their lunch breaks. Is there, removing the picnic tables, is there any concern among the neighbors that detracts from the functionality of the park? Or do you think the benches are sufficient for people walking down with a sandwich at lunchtime?
Yeah, no. So there's only 2 benches there right now.
Okay.
The rendering has 1, dependent upon space, size, and scope of what we end up doing with the stone path and kind of the patio. We may be able to fit 2 in there. All the benches that were in that area are going to be repurposed throughout the rest of the park. So we're not losing any seating. We do actually gain seating with the new benches kind of in this this area right here. And so we don't foresee that as a concern. And hopefully with this revitalization, we get more people coming, kind of on their lunch break and maybe sitting down for a meal when the weather's nice.
Great.
And Chris, could you just speak to the fundraising timeline, and then when do you feel that this work would be accomplished?
Yeah, so we are currently in the process. We have turned our neighborhood association into a 501c3 charity, so we can begin fundraising. Currently in the process right now with the federal government to become tax exempt, so we can accept those donations. So we are currently working through that process now. Hope to have that done here this winter. Start fundraising in the spring of 2020, and either begin this project kind of fall 2020 or spring 2021, just depending on how far we get with fundraising and how quickly we're able to raise the funds.
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We it's been a group effort, absolutely, with the entire group, and we're very excited about it. And a lot of effort has been put forth in both current members and past members that are no longer on the board. So this is a long time coming, and we're very excited about it.
That's very neat.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
the opportunity
Yeah,
to speak.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just, as an aside, I'm really encouraged to see younger community members get involved with neighborhood associations. That's pretty much my launch point into city politics, and I really commend you for getting involved and championing a project that you care about, because it's really important. It's what makes Ames awesome. So. All right.
All right.
Any discussion amongst the commission?
So everybody's, if you're good with it, if you want to make a motion and say that you approve the plan, and you can do that. So that way we just have a record of it.
So moved. What he said.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the table to approve the plan proposed by the Old Town Neighborhood Association for their park renovation project. All in favor, or any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And so the next item is dog park fees. So Joshua will go through that.
Outlined in the commission action for the 2020 dog park fees. The reason why we bring the fees to you in November is because the dog park fee or dog park permits is calendar based, and we will bring the other fees in January. But we wanted to get these out so people can start buying their passes for starting, so they can start using them now, but they're ready for January 1. We're recommending a 3% increase over this year, if that makes sense. This year we approximately 962 permits. We did raise fees at this time last year. The dog park fees will go up. If approved, they will go up starting December 1. But individuals that purchase dog park permits in December and January will get a 10% discount. But there's no proposed increase for daily fee passes or daily passes. Alternatives are improve the proposed dog park fees for 2020 as stated above. Alternative to approve the 2020 dog park fees to remain the same as 2019 or refer back to staff. One of the things that we've noticed as far as dog park operations is the increase in mud mitts, which is the bags that are used to pick up the waste. Those have gone up extensively over the last few years. And we also spend a lot of money in the park system as well as the dog park for those. So we are recommending alternative 1 based on that. So
Current fee is 45.
No.
Or-
So it's like 60.
Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah,
3%.
Or no, yeah, 3%. So
yeah, it's
40.
it's like $45, I believe,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I'm reading the wrong.
for
column.
resident. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's,
Yeah.
I think that sounds good.
Any further discussion on that? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve alternative 1, approve the proposed dog park fees for 2020 as stated above.
Second.
Second? Okay. Any discussion? All right. All in favor of moving alternative 1, approve the proposed dog park fees for 2020, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. Motion carries. Yeah.
So just wanted to give an update on the capital improvement plan, which is for fiscal years 2021 through 24, 25. What we'll be doing is we just met with the city manager's office this past week, about a week ago, went through basically the CIP, that we had last year with changes. We did incorporate the Access Ada Hayden, the canoe kayak launch. I know the recommendation or direction from the commission was to put something that and the pickleball courts in the first 2 years. So we have incorporated both those into the CIP for year 2. And the reason for that is there were just a few things that we had to increase fees, based on some of the projects that we have been coming in and overbid or overestimated and things. So we did increase some costs. So we have shifted some things. We have delayed some projects. We'll get this out to you prior to the December 5th meeting where the commission will meet with the city manager. But, and then we did add in some of the items, that we had shared with you in September in regards to some maintenance items. And I know that was one of the concerns from one of the commissioners was to continue to let's take care of what we have. And you'll see when you get this, there isn't a lot of new glitzy, types of things. There's a few things at the end, but it's all really either redoing or refurbishing. That's a lot of what we have, in there. So I just wanted to give you that update, and I don't know if there's any questions on it at all. Now, and I will say with the pickleball courts, one of the things, we did have discussion regarding, do we transition 2 tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts? Or we did have the conversation about maybe even just doing 6 standalone pickleball courts. Joshua did some research, reached out to some companies, some contractors that do this type of work. And what he found was roughly about $240,000 to $250,000 to do 6 pickleball courts just standalone. That would be with post-tension concrete, and then you do the surfacing on top of that. And the fencing wasn't even included in that, correct?
Correct.
So So we, right now, what you'll see when we go through it with you is we are recommending that we do convert 2 tennis courts at McCarthy Lee to pickleball courts. There are 6 pickleball courts. So one of the things that we will need to do with that is we will, over the next year, reach out to the neighbors and have conversation and see if there's any concerns and so on with it. So, all right. Any questions on that? So, and one thing, just you could do one thing is we did have in 2021 $150,000 for the path at Innis Grove, and that would be along Duff Avenue and then on 24th Street and connect into the Miracle Park, which would wind up being almost a half-mile loop. And we did increase that to $200,000 as we want to make sure that we have enough money to get that accomplished. And we'll be going from, we initially thought 8-foot wide paths, all shared use paths that we're putting in throughout the city are now 10 foot. So it'll be a little bit wider, cost a little additional money. But tying into that is with the Ames Foundation, they did get the CAT grant. They did sign the agreement, but one of the things that was in the CAT grant or their proposal was that they did use the new restroom, the renovation restroom, and the paths as kind of part of a larger Innis Grove accessibility improvement project. So when they accepted that agreement with the CAT grant committee is we have until September 30th of 2021. Yep, September 30th of 2021 to complete our portion of the projects. And if we don't complete those or don't put a minimum of $525,000 into those projects, then the foundation may have to pay back, some money to the CAT grant. It's a small portion of it, but this I'll talk later about the Innis Grove restrooms. Those 2 did get approved, and when you factor everything in, 400,000, and then 200,000 for this pass, will be well over that. So that was one of the items that we want to make sure that we had enough money to accomplish. So that Miracle Park will be perfect. So, any questions on capital improvement? Okay, as far as project update, so with the Brookside restroom renovation, we mentioned those restrooms. The estimate was about 200,000. The lowest bid was at just under 300,000, and then the second bid was 390,000, something in that neighborhood. So what we did do is we were actually going to we did recommend to
Council.
to not accept the bids, reject all the bids, and then we were going to rebid. Council really wanted to get this project done, so they referred it back to staff, said, is there other money? So we talked in regards to with the city manager, and what we wound up doing is going back to to city council with a recommendation to accept the low bid and use park development fund for that project. And that's what the council did accept. Now, one of the things that we also found out is once the project was accepted, we did submit from the city a plan to the Iowa DNR in regards to the building in the floodway, and they came back and asked if we had an engineer study done on the building and if we're going to make it flood proof, which is what we had done with the flood proof doors. And we said no. So they said, well, either get a study done and get an engineer to sign off on it that building will withstand the hydraulic pressure, or take the flood doors out and just put in standard doors and let it flood. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to meet with the contractor after Thanksgiving, and what we're looking at doing is going back to the standard doors, do a change order to take the flood doors out, which would be about a $40,000 savings with that project. So hopefully they'll be able to start doing some things maybe yet this year, depending on the weather. But that project should be done, I think, by June 1st is what the date that we had, right? June 1st.
Yes.
Yep. So any questions on Brookside restroom? Okay. So then
Porta potties.
Well, it's interesting that on the citizen satisfaction survey, and if the commission would like, we could share those results with you at an upcoming meeting. Maybe we could do that in December if you would like us to do that. But one of the things that we got dinged on was restrooms, and pretty significantly compared to what we've had in the past. And we're thinking part of it was or is because of no restroom at Brookside and having to have the porta potties and so on. So we'll see what the new restrooms in the area wind up doing for that. We won't know that this next year, but in 2020, when those results come out, or 2021, we're hoping for good things.
Skyrocket.
Yeah. So with the Ines Groove restrooms, that went out as well. And what we did is the new restroom was the base bid, and then we did the renovation as an alternate bid. And with the two restrooms and adding a lift station with a connection to the sanitary sewer, and then engineering or architectural fees, we had about $375,000, for all of that. And we got the bid for the base bid for the new restroom was $300,000. And it was interesting, the low bid actually for the base bid was $299,998. and the second lowest bid was $300,000. So it was $2 difference. But what we did with that too is council wanted to get these projects done. So we are using some, I think $72,000 from the Park Development Fund, for this project as well. So contract was awarded to HPC of Ames for a total of $378,000. So we have a bid out there right now for the lift station that's due Tuesday. So, and we'll take that to council then on December 10th. So those two projects, and one of the things that we did do with the restroom along Duff Avenue is what we did was we were going to keep it a male and female restroom. We had a pre-construction bid meeting or pre-bid meeting. And what we heard from the contractors were some things in regards to maybe that the partitions that we had, they would have to be moved, and there may be some additional cost and things of that sort. So what we actually wound up doing is we changed the plans and specs to turn both of those two restrooms into gender neutral restrooms as well. So the new restroom will have two gender neutral restrooms with adult size changing tables, and then the renovated restroom will just be two gender neutral restrooms with no changing tables, in them. So any questions on?
Have we thought about naming rights to the bathroom?
Bristow bathroom has a nice ring to it.
Are you interested?
$20.
Yep. So
Per stall.
yeah. So with those two projects and
$40,000 using the flood doors.
So with the use of the park development funds for those two projects, when it's done, we will still have just over $600,000 in that park development fund. And remember, we put $100,000 in each year, to continue to build that up. Right now, we do not have any other projects in the 5-year CIP. Well, we have in year 5, we have $200,000 from the Park Development Fund for Rose Prairie for that park development. Not sure if that's gonna happen. Not the developer is moving really slow on that. So by the time that comes around, we would add another 500,000. And we'd be up to about $1 million in that park development fund. Now, with that said, so the Homewood Clubhouse, with that, what we have decided to do, because we have $1 million for construction, and the engineer's estimate, or the cost estimator, came in with just over 1.3 million as far as the estimated cost for that. What we have elected to do is to go out to bid with that project, and we are hoping that what we'll do is we'll get some favorable bids with that, and so we are hoping to take plans and specs to City Council in December is our plan, either the 10th or the 17th. Put that out to bid, have bids due sometime in January. And then what we'll do is we'll see what the bids come in, and potentially we may look at using some of that park development fund to make up the difference there as well. Because we just feel strongly, city manager feels strongly that we don't want to, cut. And it's not a Taj Mahal. People use that frame a lot of times, or that phrase, and we feel it's a pretty modest building. It's not super huge, but it will really give us a lot of opportunity to improve what we do out there at the golf course. So
If we cut out the restrooms, will it save us $50,000?
That might be a way to get to $1 million. Yeah.
A lot of trees on the course.
You're creating
So-
a Jeremy.
I did enjoy the dog reviews, the dog park video. I could save that for commission comments.
Yep. So any questions on Homewood?
No.
All right. So, and besides the correspondence that I forwarded to you, there was nothing else. So. Report.
Oh, yep. Next agenda item is the monthly report. Oh.
I just want to make the viewers aware next week, Friday, to check the monthly calendars. We do have some open gym times, some public skate times at the Ames ISU Ice Arena, and we also have some special fitness classes Friday, Saturday. So check our website, www.amesparkrec.org, for some recreational opportunities after Thanksgiving.
Will you be having free classes over winter break again?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Next weekend, and also over winter break as well.
Kelly, will be collecting any for a food drive or anything?
I don't know if we're doing food next weekend. Do you know, Katie?
I have not heard that we are, but some people will just bring it because they're used to it.
Right.
So we'll always accept it.
Well, yep, definitely accept it. We definitely do it over winter break, but I don't remember if we're doing it next week.
Great.
One thing I'd like to highlight in the monthly report was back in October, I got to host 1,335 of my closest ISU Greek student friends to do cleanup in the park system.
yeah.
Staff went out prior to this and did a lot of cutting, and they came in on a Sunday afternoon, and they came in droves, and they kept coming, and we moved a lot of material out of Brookside Park, Moore Memorial Park, pulled out a lot of garbage out of, I wouldn't say a ton of garbage, I'm saying some different debris out of Gateway Hills Park and Stuart Smith Park. And it was a very, very successful event for the city. So I would like to just thank the ISU Greek community for helping us out with that event.
It's great. I saw pictures. It was really remarkable.
Yeah. And also one thing I forgot is
Yep.
the Friends of Brookside Park assisted with that event. And they were very, very helpful with that as well.
Great.
So
And I guess I would just add that, we have not hosted, 1,300 college kids for an event like this, but we're thinking it may wind up being an annual event,
Right.
for us. Could we get a lot of things done? So I want to thank Joshua, and then we had Pat Wienia, who's our turf maintenance supervisor, and then Paul Tauke, who is our forester. The three of them went out to different parks, and worked with the college students to get that done. And in addition to that, it has been noticed, and I know our police department has made several comments to us at different times in different settings in regards to how much not only the area along Brookside, along 13th Street, and with the Furman Aquatic Center, but along University Drive and in Stuart Smith Park, and again, really opening up sight lines. And not only from an officer standpoint that's going by and be able to look in and see what's going on, but also it really takes away some of the habitat for deer, because there has been a number of accidents and one fatal in that Furman Brookside area. So they have been very, very, very happy with the work that our park staff has been doing throughout the park system to open up those sight lines.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Kelly and Josh. Commission comments?
Just a shout out to Parks and Rec staff for stepping up when you guys have been kind of short-staffed lately. So thanks.
Yeah, I did enjoy, I think there were 2 new park reviews, one by a little kid who that was really funny and charming, and then the one from a dog today who, speaking of mutt mitts, commented on the number of bathrooms available at the dog park for dogs.
More bathrooms?
Yeah.
They're much cheaper.
Yeah. So,
They don't require a mortgage.
but just always enjoy the Channel 12 staff putting out great little clips to highlight the city. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Next meeting. So the next one is at the.
It will be out
At
at
the office?
our Parks and Recreation office, 1500 Gateway Hills Park Drive. And I will be meeting with the city manager's office, and he'll have a much better idea of where we are financially and with all the projects that all the departments have requested. So he'll be able to tell us thumbs up on everything that we have in there, or if we need to do some cutting or delaying.
Yeah.
So, and then at that time, we will also have a follow-up conversation with him in regards to a new indoor aquatic center coming off of the failed bond referendum for the Healthy Life Center. So,
Yeah. And just a note to any viewing public, the public is welcome at that meeting, although it's in a smaller conference room and there's no public input,
correct.
but it is an open meeting. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Need a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
All right. All right.